Ladies and gentlemen, the gacha community is in shambles over what might be the dumbest argument I have ever seen in my life. So I woke up one day to see this post that says, visual censorship. Cantarella's camel toe has been removed from the game with the very recent mini in-game patch update. And then he's displaying a before and after of a model that got changed. I don't want to zoom in on it too close. This opens up a few questions. Why did they change it? Why do people care so much? And most importantly, what was that doing there in the first place? So I dug into it, and let me tell you, it gets pretty bad. It gets pretty bad. So for those who don't know, this is a character named Cantarella. She's a new character that dropped in a new-ish anime game called Wuthering Waves. And now the internet is divided once again. So let's see what people are saying. This guy says, if anyone cares, I downloaded and played this game for the first time because of Cantarella. I spent money within a few days because I was loving the game so much. I will drop the game if I am not refunded or the models aren't reverted. This isn't right. And of course, the other side of the community responds and says like, hey, it's just a female body part. It's not that deep. Why is it so serious? But as you will see as we go on, some people are very upset about this. So a few days ago, Wuthering Waves posted a post about Cantarella, like a little fun one with some cool artwork, and then this guy responds, I love the game, but why this aggressive censorship? It feels like a restriction on artistic direction and creativity. I hope they bring it back to how it was before. Otherwise, I'll lose interest in playing it. I can almost guarantee you this guy had no idea this was here before. This guy says, this is a bad omen. Time to start looking for a new game, or at least letting go of this one. We have another devastated member of the community. This guy says, I invite everyone to give feedback on this. This Cantarella model has undergone a change after the character was released in the gacha. I consider this unethical, and while it may seem trivial to some, it sets a precedent. He continues, when it happened with Scar, it was understood because the model hadn't been released as playable yet, and no one had spent money on it. But in Cantarella's case, she is already a character that was released. So this guy's saying, if people have spent money on it, then they shouldn't change anything, ever. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. Just because you spend money on something doesn't mean you have any sort of ownership over it whatsoever. That's not necessarily how this works in a digital age nowadays. You're paying to play the game, and they change the game all the time. So when you pay for a character and they change it, you can't really do anything about it. So while this argument is stupid, it kind of begs an interesting question, right? Is this an actual problem? I don't think so, but a lot of people seem to think that. And it turns out this wasn't the first time the community was upset with this. The same guy, Wooba Guy, apparently he's a champion of the champion of this movement. He says, alert, visual censorship. The underwear of Fleur de Lis has been changed in the very recent mini in-game patch update. Now, I will say, I don't know if this guy's just like fear-mongering and like stirring people up on purpose, or if he actually cares about this. So that's hard to say, but the man seems very passionate about it. Anyway, he links to a photo of a girl who, one of the characters who has a little bit of a higher underwear, showing a little bit of cheek, and then it seems to be changed to short shorts. And of course, people were divided again. This guy says, I don't want to play this game anymore. This guy says, who cares? Just enjoy the game. And then this guy's just enjoying the art. He says, damn, her feet look great. This man is completely unaware of the situation that is happening. This guy says, seems unnecessary AF considering you can see just about every character's underwear and cleavage. Makes zero sense. This guy says, Cantarella's C-toe has been removed from the game with the very recent mini in-game patch update. Oh, the deception, the betrayal. Man, you deceived me. LOL. And then he posted this. Now, for the employed people that watch these videos, you're probably wondering, why did they even put that here in the first place? And I have a theory, but it's not as exciting as you think it is. I don't think they're putting in revealing silhouettes of a body part. I don't think that's their intention here. I think it's just a seam line from the undergarments that's creating this effect. And then they probably looked at it later and they're like, whoa, we don't actually want it to like give that appearance. They're like, whoa, this actually kind of looks like something that we didn't intend it to look like, so we're gonna go ahead and remove this. I think that's as simple as it was, but people are freaking out about censorship. I don't think it's nearly as complicated as people think. But anyway, the shock continues, and it just gets worse from here on out. Now, this guy also said, to all the people complaining about Cantarella's censorship, let's make it fair by asking for all censorship to be reeled back on global servers, including Scar's outfit change, because let's not forget, his design was also suddenly changed without any statement. And I was like, oh, who's this Scar character? What are we talking about here? So I did some research and I dug into it. So I dug up this post. If you look closely at his lower area, you can see they've clearly made a change. Absolutely disgusting. And this is when I started to put the pieces together and understand why people are so upset. It's not necessarily that the game game is censoring characters, right? People feel like the developers intentionally added these body parts to suck people into buying these characters, and then they just rug pulled them after. So that's why they're feeling deceived. And I gotta say, that's fucking crazy. Now, I haven't looked at this game. I'm pretty sure this game has a 16+ rating, so there is certain guidelines that they have to probably adhere to. And you probably don't notice it, but character models get changed all the time. But you don't care because it isn't about your favorite body part. And now, of course, everyone's upset. People are saying, revert it, change it back. I want my moose knuckle back in the game, baby. I can't enjoy this game until that is back. But they're obviously not responding. I don't see why they would. Of course, this was devastating news to me. This was devastating news. I thought, man, what a slippery slope we're going down, huh? Soon what? Are all these characters gonna be wearing t-shirts? But I did some research and I found, oh baby, this wasn't actually the first time this happened. I found this post where they say, remember not long ago, Zenless bringing censorship and reverse it in one day? This is the moment when devs actually listened and strong ZZZ community. There was a change they made. People used to be able to lower the camera at a certain angle and zoom in on their favorite character, right? I think they made a change eventually that added some dithering so the character became transparent when the camera came up close to it. People got really upset and they reverted the change. Just crazy, man. I could totally picture the devs being like, hey, whoa, like, okay, kids play this game, so let's just like make sure that, you know, you can't do anything weird to these characters. And then all the basement dwellers over 30 were like, no! This guy says, I had no idea Gantrell even had Gucci lips. They're nerfing the game. What a shame. It's like, dude, you didn't even notice. You didn't even notice, and you wouldn't have cared. You wouldn't have cared if she came out like this. What are you upset about? This guy says, watching the Woowa community tweak out over censorship, quote unquote, is so funny. It actually makes them look worse than what people think the Zenless Zone fans are like. Like, it's not that big of a deal that they tone down the sexualization of certain characters. Do you only get on to Goon? That's a great question. I think the answer is yes for a lot of people. But here's an interesting question. Have the devs invited this themselves by creating characters that are like really over-sexualized and obviously used to bait people in who enjoy these sexualized characters? When they tone that back and the response from the unemployed is like really loud and they're really upset about it, like, honestly, what did you expect? And this person backs up my point exactly. This person says, honestly, Kuro, who are the developers of Wuthering Waves, created this problem themselves, and not because of this quote unquote censorship, because they made these incels their main audience. Now they are simply reaping the fruits of their labor. Incels are literally insane. As example, that incident with Skara. Enjoy now. I kind of agree with it. This to me is one of the most bizarre arguments I have ever seen. But as I start digging deeper and deeper into these gacha anime communities, I'm starting to learn how precious fan service is to some people. This person also points out that Zenless Zone Zero was already censored, and of course people like this will still go out of the way to find something to complain about. And if you look at the changes, they gave Nicole like a bra, some support, toned down the cheeks on this character, and like pull up the guys. Really? Thank you for this. Thank you. This was genuinely amazing. And unfortunately, it looks like we didn't get a resolution for this one. The unemployed are mad, and then the employed are mad because the unemployed are mad. What can you do about that situation? What do you guys think? Do you think that this kind of censorship in games is necessary and completely fine? The game developers can do what they want? Or do you think it's an attack on your freedom? I, for one, am thankful for this community because they give me something to laugh at every single day. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing what everyone's mad about tomorrow. All right, I'm done.